Greetings to all my viewers. Welcome back to your favorite military history channel. Together, we've walked through the battles of Nam Kachu, Tawang, Walong, Sela, and Bomdila. We've seen bravery beyond measure, and also leadership failures that cost us dearly in 1962. Now, friends, we move into the last and most decisive phase of the war. Chapter 12, Part 1, The Final Countdown. If you're finding these stories valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And for PDF notes, you can call on the number shown on the screen. So, without further ado, let's begin today's journey into the closing act of the 1962 war. November 1962. The Himalayan winds howled, freezing everything in their path. At these heights, men fought not only the enemy, but the mountains, the cold, and despair itself. Here in any FA, the Indian Army's 62 brigades stood battered and surrounded, exhausted, outnumbered, yet still holding their rifles with resolve. They had not been defeated in courage, only betrayed by poor planning and broken leadership. This was their darkest hour, and the stage was set for the final countdown. 18th November 1962. The withdrawal from Sela began. Trucks rumbled down the icy tracks, headlights cutting through the mist, while weary soldiers trudged behind in silence. But at Bridge 2, the mountains themselves betrayed them. Hidden on the ridges, Chinese guns waited. Suddenly, mortars tore through the valley. Trucks exploded, men were flung into the river, flames lit up the night. From above, machine guns raked the column. Soldiers fell where they stood, trapped in a killing ground. In minutes, the retreat had become a massacre. An entire column, wiped out without mercy. They came on foot, weary and cold, only to find hell waiting. Burned trucks still smoldered on the roadside. Bodies of comrades scattered across the valley. Then, from the ridges above, the Chinese unleashed a storm of fire. But the Indian infantry did not break. Mortars thundered back, bayonets were fixed, and young officers led charge after charge into the teeth of ambushes. Each trap cleared, only for another to spring ahead. One by one, those brave officers fell, leading from the front, refusing to bow. It was courage forged in blood, against odds no man could overcome. The battlefield turned into a slaughter ground. The Chinese gave no quarter. The wounded were bayoneted where they lay, prisoners gunned down without hesitation. At Dirang Dzong, the men of 13 Dogras stood their ground, firing till their last rounds, buying time for others to escape. But as night fell, even they were overwhelmed. Scattered survivors slipped into the forests, some crossing into Bhutan, broken, starving, hunted. The brigade was no longer fighting as a unit. It was breaking apart, torn between survival and sacrifice. One by one, the proud battalions of Sela met their fate. The 4 Garhwal rifles, who had stood firm at Nurnang, now fought with fading strength until exhaustion forced them into Chinese captivity. The 4 Sikh light infantry resisted stubbornly, refusing to yield, but when their commander fell in battle, the heart of the unit was broken. What remained of these battalions splintered into small groups scattered across the forests. Some were hunted down, others taken prisoner. Their story was not of surrender, but of sacrifice. Battalions shattered, yet courage unbroken. Brigadier Hoshiar Singh refused to give up. Believing it was his duty to reach Dirang Dzong, he marched with barely 60 men, starving, frost-bitten, yet unshaken in spirit. On 23rd November, near Footing Bridge, the end came. As the exhausted commander accepted a drink of water, a sniper's bullet struck him down. His men fought to the last breath and were slaughtered where they stood. None returned. The brigadier had kept his word. Sela had not fallen through cowardice, but through sacrifice. At Dirang Dzong, over 1,000 Indian soldiers waited, tired, hungry, yet still ready to fight. But the one thing they needed never came: leadership. Their commanders had vanished. Orders were lost in silence. Confusion turned to despair as the men of the legendary 4th Infantry Division, warriors once hailed in World War II, now stood abandoned in their own land. Within just 36 hours, the proud division crumbled. Not in battle, but in betrayal of command. 23rd November 1962. At Lagyala Gompa, a sacred monastery perched high in the mountains, the Rajput made their final stand. Lieutenant Colonel Avasthy and his men were cut off, surrounded, and without artillery. Yet they chose not to surrender. For 2 hours the valley shook with gunfire and bayonets. When it was over, 170 Rajput soldiers lay still. No one survived. But in that silence, they had written their legacy. A stand of honor, of defiance, of ultimate sacrifice. November 1962 ended not with victory, but with sacrifice. Sela, Nyukmadong, Lagyala Gompa, each name etched in blood, each ridge a silent witness to unmatched courage. The generals may have failed, but the soldiers did not. They fought till their last bullet, their last breath, their last man. This is the true legacy of 1962, not collapse, but sacrifice, not defeat, but honor. Friends, here we come to the end of Chapter 12, Part 1, the final countdown. If you are learning and growing with us on this journey through history, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned, because in our next video, we'll move ahead into Chapter 12, Part 2, where the story of 1962 reaches its most decisive moments. Till then, stay focused, stay inspired, and Jai Hind.